Evening everyone, welcome back, hope you're well. Tonight's little adventure, I'm going to be going up to Walla Crag, which is just above Derwentwater. If you're a landscape photographer out there and you're in the UK, you'll know that this time of year is heather season. It's something that we kind of look forward to all summer because, you know, with the landscape being one shade of green, it's nice to see a different colour coming out. And yeah, maybe a week or so early, but you know, the colour should be pretty good up there. Yeah, so we're just going to have a little look and see what we can get. Just a quick thanks to everyone that watched and commented on the last video. I was a little bit sort of concerned that, you know, people might find it a bit long and boring, just me talking relentlessly to the camera, but I'm pleased some of you got something out of that anyway. I'm going to get a move on because I've got a sort of short but steep walk up to the top of Walla Crag. It's about 400 metres, it's not too bad, but yeah, I'm going to get my skates on and I'll see you in a bit. Right, so you can probably tell from that little bit of B-roll there that, you know, the heather's not quite there at the minute. It's a little bit, well, it's probably about 10 days away, really. There's patches of it that are getting out in colour, but as I said when I started, you know, I'm probably a little bit early, but looking at the forecast, both windy and clear outside, we're, you know, giving pretty promising conditions, you know, a lot high cloud, but also clear out looking towards the Irish Sea, which is the direction of the sunset. So that's kind of why I've sort of chanced my arm a bit and come up here tonight. But also it's good to sort of reacquaint yourself with these locations. I mean, I've shot here many times before, but it's been a little while. And also I wanted to get a panoramic image, which, you know, I was saying about in that last vlog, you know, selling images in the shop. The location here really sort of lends itself to a, you know, a big wide panoramic sort of vista type shot. So if nothing else, if I can get one nailed down and then I can come back in 10 days or so when the heather's at its sort of peak colour, that'll be job done for tonight, I think. But I'm going to get cracking and get set up with something. All right, this is going to be a bit trickier than I thought it was going to be, actually. I've just had to hunker down a little bit because this wind's picked up. It sort of caught me out. It certainly wasn't forecast to be windy tonight. Yeah, just having a little scout around here. When I've come up here previously, I've always shot in single images and, you know, never really shot a panoramic. So I've never really had to sort of think about that. But we're coming up here tonight and having a look around specifically for a panoramic. I'm noticing that there's an awful lot of clutter that's going to make composing that panoramic quite problematic. A lot of these sort of smaller, younger trees in the foreground here look a little bit untidy, so it's going to take quite a lot of finesse in here to get this right. One of the issues that you face when you come up to Walla Crag, I mean, it's a fantastic view, don't get me wrong. But you've got Derwentwater on the left hand side, and if you're shooting it at sort of sunset like I am, it's quite a bright highlight in the sort of corner of the frame. So you've just got to think about how that balances up, and is it going to sort of pull your eye too far to the left? I've always sort of struggled with that a little bit up here, that the sort of finicky part of me wants to almost get rid of it, but obviously you can't. But I'm going to keep having a look around and try, because this is going to take a little bit of work. You know, the filming here might take a bit of a back seat. I'm going to have to work this composition quite a lot. Weather-wise, the cloud's sort of doing what it's saying it was going to. There's a lot of high cloud at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't bugger off and it stays around till sunset. It's nice and clear out on the horizon out towards the Irish Sea. So with a bit of luck, you know, we might get a decent colourful sunset here. Right, I've had a good look about there, and I think I'm going to have to admit defeat with it, to be honest. I did think that having previously come up here, there was a panoramic image possible, but to be perfectly honest, after having a good scout about, I don't think it's going to work. There's just too much clutter, too many sort of things getting in the way. Derwentwater is very bright on the left-hand side of the frame, which would, any sort of panoramic shot would really be unbalanced by it. So I think what I'm probably going to do is shoot it as a single frame and then crop it 16:9, so you know I'll still get that sort of panoramic type image, but yeah, it'll be out of a single frame. I mean, when you shoot with these high resolution high megapixel cameras, I mean mine's a D810, it's a little bit dated now, but it's still nearly 40 megapixels, so you know I can get a good print out of that just from a single frame. So I have actually found another shot, so all is not lost. That little thicket there, there's loads of these sort of dead bits of, well, I don't know, I'm saying the thickets, I don't know what they're called. Anyway, they make quite a nice sort of contrast to the heather. You know, they're very stark, the white and grey. So I think the plan here will be to shoot a sort of portrait image with that in the foreground. And then once I've got that in the can, I'll move on and shoot that wider frame later. I'm just going to wait it out now because the sun's sort of just dropping down below that high cloud. With a bit of luck, you know, this cloud will stick around and we'll get a nice colourful sunset. The wind's still sort of, well, it hasn't got any worse, but I'm just a little worried that it's going to blow all the cloud away like it usually does. But yeah, fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get a good one. All right, so as is the way with landscape photography, cloud is cleared, which is not ideal. We've got nice bright blue skies now, and yeah, it's probably not going to happen tonight. I mean, it is a good example of the sort of importance of getting out and recceing a place and doing the groundwork, because I would have hated to come back here, you know, when conditions were sort of optimum and been scrabbling around for a composition. I think this one will work, even though it's probably not going to be the best image tonight. I know I can come back to this in a week, 10 days, when the heather's a bit better, and you know, I should get a pretty good shot of this. As it is, the light's a little harsh now. I mean, one tip for you, sometimes it's not always a good thing to shoot heather in sort of strong light, because it does actually wash out the colour a little bit. Sometimes, well, I would say personally, you know, if you can shoot heather in overcast conditions, that's ideal really. But as it was tonight, I thought, well, if the heather isn't going to be its best, at least we might get a sort of colourful sunset. But I don't think that's going to happen now. But anyway, we move on. It's not the end of the world. I'll talk you through this composition. It's going to probably have to be a bit of a focus stack. It's you know, a little bit finicky because my foreground interest is very close to the front of the lens. But yeah, I'll just talk you through this. Right, this shot I've got set up. I've got to be careful here. It's a bit sharp sitting down in all these sort of brambles and whatever. It's yeah, probably not a good night to put shorts on. Yeah, so this shot, the sort of thicket, bit of scrub, well, it's dead, whatever it is, in the foreground here. Someone can please correct me if they know what type of tree or bark or whatever it is. I'm quite willing to be corrected. Yeah, we've got this in the foreground. I'm probably about a foot away from it, so as I said earlier, it's probably going to have to be a bit of a focus stack. I was really sort of attracted to the sort of starkness against the sort of greens and the purples of the heather here, so I think it'll make a nice, interesting subject to shoot. 3 shots as a focus stack. I'm shooting at f8 for each frame. One of the things I see a lot when people are dishing out advice with focus stacking is to tell people to shoot frames at f11. Well, that kind of defeats the object of focus stacking. You want to shoot each frame at the sharpest point on the lens. Normally that's about 5.6, but between 5.6, f8, something like that. So yeah, 3 shots, f8. I'm not using any filters tonight. I'm trying to sort of cut the bag weight down a little bit when I'm doing some of these walks, so I'm quite happy to bracket these. But yeah, it'll be a bracket and a focus stack. Hopefully this one should work out all right. The cloud that I was talking about, it was actually really unbalanced in this frame. About 10 minutes earlier, we had sort of half of the cloud over the top of Skiddaw and half not, which was, you know, really causing a bit of a problem here. But it's thankfully completely cleared now, so it's not really a distracting element in the scene. Would I like a sunset? Yeah, of course I would, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'll stick this one up, and hopefully it should work out all right. Let me know what you think anyway. Right, I think I've got what I needed from tonight. Decent recce, ruled out a panoramic, which I was absolutely convinced would work up here, but turns out it doesn't. I got a shot just before there. Just a sec, just get through this gate. Yeah, I got shots just after that previous one with the thicket in the foreground. I noticed a nice patch of green sort of ferns just beyond there. I didn't really get a chance to sort of talk you through that one because I was in a bit of a rush basically, and the light was fading. But yeah, very similar shot. I didn't need to actually focus stack that one because you know, I was a little bit further away from that one. It was just a single frame bracketed. I tell you what, I am looking forward to getting a new camera. I'm not really much of a sort of gear photographer. I don't really see a lot of interest in it. They're very much a tool to do a job for me. But with the focus stacking, I am looking forward to getting a camera that'll just sort of do that automatically. And I don't have to fanny around with the focus points. I've been boring some of my friends. I've had a sort of brief dalliance with Fuji last year and ended up going back to Nikon. And I was really toying with the idea of the X-T4 and going to one body for the video and the stills. But I just, having had the X-T3 files before, I can't go back to them. So I'm probably going to pull the trigger on a Z7 this week, I think. Just a bit of boring tech for you there. Yeah, if that one was any good, I'll post it up at the end. But yeah, I think I'll leave this one here, and I'll catch you on the next one.